conversation about me has proliferated the internet. I can't go anywhere without reading people writing about me from incredible variable perspectives. And I just want to take some time to clarify as many things as I can. Not to defend myself per se, like some people are criticizing me, some of those criticisms are valid. A lot of it's just couched in misunderstanding. And I mean, one of the criticisms I get a lot of the time is that I accuse people of just not understanding me when they might have valid criticisms. And I think that that's understandable, but the problem is just that I make so much content. I mean, it's kind of not shocking that there's lots of people who don't have the full picture, because sometimes you really have to follow like everything to totally get the train of thought that I'm on. And this is why I've started to be a bit more reserved in what I say in public and address a lot more of my personal stuff in Patreon podcasts, where if you listen to, say, Digi Does Life, the bi-weekly podcast for $15 a month patrons, I talk a lot about my career, what I'm doing with it, where I'm going. You may have heard some of the snippets from this on the After Dark channel, which in many ways I feel like were a bad idea because they're so out of context that like lots of the response to them is like people who just like totally don't get what I'm talking about in those videos. And the reason I have contained that stuff to Patreon is simply because the people who are patrons are the most likely to be following everything I put out. And so they're the most likely to understand it and like get it in the proper context of like all the other videos that are coming out. Because if you're not following literally everything I do, it can be difficult. And I think I fuck up a lot on like figuring out where I should post what. You know, because the content is so diasporic, there's stuff on all these different channels, and like, oh, I just remembered another thing I need to write down. I've got a list here of criticisms. Using the word diasporic reminded me of one. So, yeah, I think I fuck up a lot when it comes to trying to get my stuff to the right audience. Like, trying to post the right thing in the right place, it's confusing. It's hard to know what to do with that because of the fact that I can't expect everybody to follow everything. So, like, if I just had one channel that had all the content on it, like, if it was just After Dark and that had everything I make, then a lot of people would just be completely turned off. Like, if the main channel had all the After Dark content, probably lose a lot of subscribers who don't want to see vlogs all the time and weird podcasts and, you know, stuff about smoking weed and fucking my girlfriend or whatever the fuck, you know? So, like, there's a reason to keep them separated, but then figuring out which stuff makes sense on which channels is difficult because I don't really clearly delineate it in my mind. I don't normally approach a video like this is going to be for this channel or like this will make sense to these people. I often forget what I've talked about where. When you make as much content as I do, it's very easy to lose track of what you've talked about where. So that's why I'm just making this video, to try to clarify as many things as I possibly can, to try and address all the criticisms, all the misunderstandings, all the things that are just sort of out there in the ether being said about me, and to sort of make this like a take it or leave it video. Like, I'm gonna make you understand, like, this is, as I understand it, this is what Digibro is, this is what my opinions are, this is what my stances are, this is what my plans are, and if you like that, cool. If you don't like it, then, you know, consider not watching me anymore, because I don't really need to have a gigantic audience of people who don't get it and are constantly, you know, like, talking about me all the time everywhere when I'm like, you guys don't even have the full picture, you know? Not that I'm saying you can't do that. Talk about me wherever the fuck you want. So anyways, the first thing that gets brought up all the time with regards to me is ego and arrogance. I'm very often accused of being egotistical and arrogant for very good reason. I am those things. However, I think that a lot of people blow this out of proportion and say some things about me that I just don't think are true, such as that I think I'm better than everyone. I think I've made it pretty clear that I don't consider myself a good person, first of all, like morally. I think that I don't really take the best approach to life. I'm very self-destructive in my tendencies, as I've addressed many times. I drink a lot, I smoke hella weed, I eat badly, you know, like, so I don't take good care of myself. I don't really do right by other people that much. Like, I look out for my friends. I think most of my friends will tell you that I am a decent friend, except for the ones who who I've had fallings out with, you know, in which case they might say, I respect him as a content creator, but he's not the best friend in the world, you know? Like, I can't claim that I'm, like, amazing as a person. I really don't think I am. I don't think I'm that great. I can be good to some people, but I have a very limited amount of goodness to offer to people individually, you know? I don't really want more friends. I don't really want more people to talk to. I almost enjoy burning bridges because it means I have fewer things I have to keep up with, fewer people whose drama I have to deal with, fewer people who I have to think about. I just want to be, like, alone with my girlfriend in my own little world, you know? Like, that's kind of my approach to life. And as a content creator, I don't think I'm, like, great as a YouTuber. Now, I have said, and this is the quote everybody always brings up, that I think I am the best anime YouTuber. And I do, but I also don't think that's a competition. Like, there's not good anime YouTubers, really. Like, there's people who I like, people who I would put, like, close to on par with myself. But, like, I have one reason or another, I just don't think that they are as good as me, as I've addressed in previous videos, you know? Like, some people I just don't think are knowledgeable enough. Some people I don't think are interesting enough. Some people I don't like their editing style. Some people I think are better than me, but they don't upload enough, you know? If Demolition D was still extremely active, I could still see people calling him the best anime YouTuber, but the dude hasn't made a video in years, you know? Endless Jess, I fucking love his videos to death. I love My Japanese Animes, but My Japanese Animes doesn't update that frequently, you know? And he doesn't have a huge depth of anime knowledge. Now, there's tons of people who know way more about anime than I do, but none of them are on YouTube. There's tons of people who are way better journalists than I am, but none of them write about anime. You know, like, me being the best anime YouTuber, even in my own opinion, like, yes, you can view that as very arrogant, and it is very arrogant, but to extrapolate from that I think I'm better than most people or everyone, no, I just think anime YouTube is not a healthy race. Like, most people suck at it, in my opinion, you know? And I don't even think I'm doing as well as I possibly could be. And, you know, this is why we'll get to another complaint that I can't take criticism. I actually really enjoy criticism, and I seek it out actively. Like, there are people I hang out with because they criticize me. But, I mean, we'll get more into that in a second. But, like, you know, Econ, for instance, who's a guy who you might have heard of. He did a big video about me on Nino's channel where he called me a hypocrite and, like, said all this stuff about, like, what he thinks I do wrong as a YouTuber. And I totally agree with most of his criticisms. I think my videos are under-researched. I think that I don't consult enough with people who are more knowledgeable than me. I think that I, you know, approach things out of just what I'm interested in and less about what would be the most informative for the audience. You know, I tend to skip the details I don't care about and only focus on details that are important to me. Ergo, you know, I might be the only person talking about some really obscure piece of media, but I'm not really doing it justice because I'm only focusing on the parts that I care about. And if there was a ton of people doing it, that would be great, because then it wouldn't, you know, I could do that and just be niche, and it wouldn't matter that I was niche. You know, it only matters that I can't do the best analysis of a piece of work because I'm the only person even covering it, you know, or the only person with this amount of anime knowledge in YouTube. But, like, there's tons of people who know more than me, tons of people who can do better than me. There's tons of critics and writers who I look up to that I put above myself. I don't think I'm nearly as good as Film Crit Hulk, you know? I don't think I'm nearly as good of a writer as, like, Hunter S. Thompson, you know, who's one of my biggest influences. I call myself a gonzo journalist because of him. I am nowhere near the caliber of him as a journalist, you know? I haven't done shit. All I do is watch anime and make videos about it, you know? I don't think I'm a good, like, I read, like, Oscar Wilde, I'm blown away. Mark Z. Danielewski, I'm blown away. You know, fucking people online, Dick Masterson, his writing dwarfs mine. Endless Jess, his writing completely crushes mine. And Endless Jess, I always bring him up because he does the same stuff I do, but better, you know? He makes YouTube analytical videos, but better. He makes music, but better. Like, you know, he's not as frequent of an uploader, and you know, some people might like my style over his, but, like, I personally think what he does is better than what I do, you know? And I look up to him, and I try to, you know, I try to incorporate more elements of what he does into what I do. But, like, I don't think I'm as much of a fucking genius as he is, so I can't necessarily do that, you know? Even, like, lots of people who I have disagreement with, I respect as people, you know? Like, back when I did my shitting on anime YouTubers rant, there's a bunch of people who took that as, like, I was burning all these bridges and insulting all these people, and, like, no, I was just criticizing their fucking content that I don't like, you know? I hung out with Giguk at Anime Expo. We did a panel together. We fucking got drunk and had a great time. He's a great dude, you know? And I respect, I know my infamous quote is I don't respect his content, but, like, I totally respect his content. I just don't like his content, you know? But I get what he's doing. It's just not something I would ever want to do or ever want to, like, be involved with, you know? But, like, yeah, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. You know, there's tons of people who, like, fucking Mumkey Jones, you know? I had a falling out with Mumkey Jones over some very personal issues. I don't think he's a bad guy. I'm not out here telling you Mumkey Jones is a piece of shit. I think he's fine, you know? He just made a video about me the other day that I thought was as tasteful as he could possibly have done it. Like, he clearly didn't want to start shit with me because, you know, like, it wasn't like that. It's not like we hate each other's guts. We just had very personal issues that tore us apart, you know? And it just so happened that those personal issues were related to a very public show, you know? And he and I see things very differently about how events played out, you know, so, like, we're gonna keep harboring some resentment over that, but, like, you know, I'm not telling you he's a bad dude, and he's not telling you I'm a bad dude, and people just want that. They want that fucking bloodthirsty, like, carnage to happen, but, like, it ain't like that, you know? And I could just get into all kinds of shit about the way people perceive YouTubers and the way they perceive all this shit. Like, this is just a bunch of dudes. Like, everyone making YouTube videos, we're just a bunch of people who, like, want to live our lives and be relatively normal, you know? Like, the stuff we do on camera is a show. You are watching a show. Even if it is deeply steeped in who we are as people. Like, me in my everyday life is not sitting on the couch staring at a camera ranting for 20 minutes. That's 20 minutes of my life. Most of my life is laying splayed out on a couch, fucking bonged out and watching some trippy 70s cartoon. Like, that is who I am. This is just a show that you're watching, and that's true of all of YouTube. It's all a show. If you really want to, like, experience that, if you want, like, more research into this, go watch the H3 podcast. That shit is fucking fascinating, because he talks to all these, like, million-plus sub YouTube channels, some of whom are hugely controversial, and, like, the number one takeaway you'll get from it is, it's all a fucking show. Go watch the interview with Keemstar. Go watch the interview with fucking, the best one is Joey Salads. That shit's incredible. The dude is completely self-aware about everything he's doing. It's a fucking show, you know? It's for money. Those people make shitloads of money. Fucking, I'm pretty sure that Joey Salads is a millionaire. And, like, yeah, so, you just gotta understand that this isn't, like, us actually fighting, you know? This is just people having disagreements online that happen to be public because we're all public figures, and, like, our dirty laundry gets aired in front of viewers, and it's kind of really unfortunate, and I really hate that part of this career, but, like, it kind of has to happen, because if you don't air it out publicly, then rumors get spread, and people start, you know, saying things about you that aren't true, and you just gotta fucking set the record straight as best you can. Like, you know, it can be really damaging to have interpersonal issues that bubble onto the surface. Look at, like, Game Grumps, for instance, where, you know, John and Aaron both just had rumors about them for fucking... Still to this day, people speculate about the end of Game Grumps just because they didn't come out about it, you know? It's just a couple of guys who had a disagreement, and it's probably some really simple shit. They probably had just a money disagreement, you know? Like, obviously, Aaron wanted to take Game Grumps in the direction of making more and more... I don't know why I'm getting into this fucking Game Grumps thing. You get the point. I don't need to go down a fucking Game Grumps rabbit hole. So, God, I just went on such a fucking tangent. So yes, I am egotistical, I am arrogant. Those are both true. I do think I do good work. I like the work I do. I care about the work I do. I do consider it to be artistic. I am not the first critic to think that. Oscar Wilde has fucking tons of writing on the subject of criticism as art, and I think it's really fascinating, and you should definitely read it before you even talk about the subject. And tons of people have written about it. Like, it's, you know, whatever. Yes, I have ego, but I don't think I'm better than everybody. I don't even think I'm better than most people. I think I'm better at certain things than other people are, you know? Do I think I'm better than commenters? No. Do I think I'm better of a writer than commenters? Yes. I've been writing for 10 years and practicing my craft and honing it, and it's all I fucking care about is to be a good writer. So of course, I think I'm a better writer than people who fucking just watch my video and churn out some shit in 5 seconds. Like, yeah, I think I'm a better writer than those people. Is that arrogant and egotistical? Sure. You know, if I can't be arrogant and egotistical about that, then I don't even know, like, sure, fine. Like, kick me off your sub feed then, because, like, I can't envision a world where you're not allowed to have pride in something that you've put all of your time and energy into for over a decade, you know? So, God, alright, the can't take criticism thing. Okay. Look, I will admit, I'm very defensive when it comes to criticism, and a lot of it is because I think a lot of it is couched in misunderstanding. And if it's not, I probably don't respond to it. There's lots of criticism I get that I, like, honestly, it, like, hits me, and I'm like, oh, fuck, he's completely right. I want to say almost a comment on every video, where, like, after waves and waves of shit that's, like, based in misunderstanding, or shit that's just, you know, people just call me a fuckboy or something, there'll always be that one comment that I'm like, this dude got to the heart of all my problems, you know, and some of it is not stuff I necessarily disagree with. I just understand why somebody else feels that way. But sometimes someone says something that's exactly the problem I have with the video, or a problem I didn't even realize I would have with the video. And again, I bring up Econ as somebody who, you know, fucking, he's in my Patreon Discord shitting on me all day. Like, that's, I allow that because he's good at it. Like, he finds things about my content that I go, yeah, I understand why that's a problem for you, you know? And sometimes it's not a problem for me. I am willing to not be perfect. I am willing to make videos that I think have issues because they're good enough. You know, they're good enough that people are gonna watch it and enjoy it and they'll get something out of it. It's just not the perfect representation of the idea, you know? I don't really want to spend my time perfecting every idea. I don't think, first of all, I don't think it's financially a good idea. And second of all, I don't think it'll necessarily even be noticed by most people, you know? And I'm willing to put out a lesser product, you know, if I think that it ultimately lives up to a certain standard, you know? And I think a lot of people agree that my videos hit a fairly high standard, you know. But anyways, there's a huge difference between not being able to take criticism at all and not being able to take constant criticism. And I don't think people really understand how much there is. And it's because I am so public of a figure. It's not often that people who are as big as I am make themselves as public as I do, for this reason. Like, I talk about way more of my life than most people do. I put myself way more out there. I make way more content. I read way more comments and criticism. Most people at my level just stop reading comments, or they don't publicize their own life. They try to take a back seat, you know? When you reach a certain point on YouTube, you can't feasibly read comments anymore. It's such a fucking time sink. And the more people know about you, the more misunderstandings will arise, because more and more people are new and they haven't seen everything, or they don't know what's going on. They don't know why you did this thing that you clarified 10 videos prior, you know, like something that you said you were gonna do way back, like closing comments, which I've been talking about doing for 3 years, and I've been justifying for 3 years, and which other YouTubers have done for the exact same reasons. And I just copied what Total Biscuit did, incidentally, but we'll get to that later as well. Like, I think that the more audience I have, the harder it is for me to hear criticism that actually addresses things that are problems with the video, or are problems with the way I do things. Like, yes, there's lots of criticism that is fine. It's like, that's your opinion. I just don't agree with it, and I don't really see any value in reading it. But, like, there is good criticism out there, but it's fucking drowned out. Like, I can't get to it because I can't open my mouth without criticism anymore. I can't make a tweet without getting responses about whether or not people agree with the tweet. I don't even give a fuck about, you know? The official moment when I knew I was too big for Twitter was when I went out and saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And I came home and I said, saw Guardians 2, great movie, my favorite Marvel movie yet. And someone responded to me with like something to the effect of like, that's not right. Guess what about Ant-Man? And I was like, I haven't seen Ant-Man. I don't have any opinion about Ant-Man. Like, I'm not making a statement that Guardians 2 is the best Marvel movie. I just said it was my favorite. But you get this, right? You get how all I did was share my opinion about something and made it very clear I was not making any statement about what is the best Marvel movie. I said my favorite Marvel movie so far, and immediately I get a comment like that. And I thought, I can't share my opinions anymore because, like, I'm gonna have to see this. I'm gonna have to see this constant response and scrutiny and people wanting to throw their 2 cents to their Me Too in there, you know? And, like, I don't know who these people are. I can't have my time occupied by constant, you know, a constant inundation of other people's opinions of my opinions. Like, I don't think anybody understands how much time that takes up. Like, reading tweet responses can literally take up my whole day. Like, I can make a tweet that gets enough response that reading all of it will take all day. And that is really dangerous. And I, as a deeply flawed person who cannot help but to read that shit, will read it. I will read it if it's there. And people say all the time, just don't read the responses. Just don't read the comments. I can't. Does that make me a piece of shit? Sure. You know, like, if you decide, oh, I hate Digibro because he doesn't know how to just not scroll down, fine. Hate me for that. I don't know how to not scroll down. Like, I don't know many people who do know how to not scroll down. You know, if you listen to any big YouTuber talk about their comment section, they talk about how it's a fucking nightmare. Unless it's PBS Idea Channel or some really small channel, you know? And there are ways to make a comment section good. And it takes a lot of dedication to the comments. If you address comments in your videos, if you read good comments, if you respond to good comments, I've talked about this many times in the past, that you can make a great comment section, but it takes caring about it and dedicating yourself to it. And I don't really have a way to incorporate comments into my actual work. Like, comments are not a part of my videos. They're not a part of the work. They're not something that I really take into account when I make the videos, you know? Like, they're made to just be these individual analytical writings that you might find in, like, a newspaper or a fucking magazine or something. Like, they're really not meant to be... They're kind of not meant to be YouTube videos, but, like, there's nowhere else to put them, you know? And, like, the way I treat YouTube these days is basically, I don't really want to be a part of YouTube culture or, like, a YouTuber. It's just a place to upload the videos, because where the fuck else am I going to put them? Where else can I put an 8.5 gig Makoto Shinkai analysis? It's an hour and a half long. Like, there's no other video site I can fucking upload that to, you know, that'll let a lot of people watch it. And so, like, just because I need to use YouTube as a resource in order to make my videos possible, I somehow am then tied into this other culture that I really don't want any part in, you know? And YouTube gives me the tools to not be a part of that, but, like, the people who watch the videos are just really upset about that. Like, they want me to be a part of that culture, and I really don't want to, you know? Like, I don't want to spend all my time reading comments. I can't not scroll down, and I've had tons of requests from fans to close the comments. I have lots of viewers who, like, when I talk about how I hate comments, will message me and be like, dude, I hate your comment section so much because ever since you got big, there's no discussion in there. It's just a bunch of fucking shit posting and people just flaming each other, you know? And monkey drama and, like, other, just any kind of drama that could get brought up, you know? People complaining about how I closed comments on one video on another video. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that one. Like, what do you think you're accomplishing with that, guy, you know? But, like, I don't know, I just don't want to be a participant in that culture, and, like, I'm fine with criticism. I will go and find it. Like, even if I close comments on YouTube, even if I close down my Reddit, if I close down all DMs everywhere, I will still Google myself and go look for criticisms of me, because I cannot help myself. I want to know. I want to know what problems people have with my videos, so I can correct them, you know? A lot of my videos are course corrected based on criticism. The reason you have an 80-minute Makoto Shinkai video is because the overwhelming response I was getting from my fans over the last few months was, we want big videos back. Like, that was a huge thing that even my closest fans, even my patrons, were like, we really want the big, long, detailed, analytical videos where you break down a show in depth or a creator in depth. We want that back. And I said, okay, that's what we're going to do then. Like, if that's what everybody wants, if that's what's going to make people the most happy, that's what we're going to do, because it will also make me the most happy, because I also want that kind of videos. And the kind of stuff I was doing before, the reasons I was doing it kind of evaporated. Like, algorithmic success, not a thing for me anymore. But I'll get into that later, too. This is going to be a long fucking video. So, you know, again, like, I'm not afraid of criticism. What I am afraid of is getting it everywhere. It's not having time in my day anymore. It's having to read criticism everywhere I go at all times, you know? Like, I'm on the computer most of my day, and if I open up Twitter because I want to tweet something, I'm gonna end up reading, and I also hate reading everyone else's Twitter right now. Like, I quit Twitter. I literally have blocked myself from Twitter because I was having so little fun even just reading other people's tweets, because it's all fucking political, and everything that people like is political, and therefore I get everyone's fucking liked tweets, and I just don't care, you know? So I just had to block myself from Twitter entirely because it was just not fun in any way anymore. And people act like I'm doing it to run away from criticism. No, I'm doing it to run away from a time sink. I'm doing it to run away from having, like, my day consumed by it, you know? And having it on my fucking phone, too, so that if I'm out, I could be out fucking eating a slice of pizza and reading people talking about how my opinions on Mario Odyssey are retarded. Like, dude, I just wanted to, like, with that Mario Odyssey thing, I just legit wanted to get my fucking piece out there, you know? I was just like, hey, I've got thoughts about this game. Doesn't seem like a lot of people have these thoughts, but in case anybody does, here you go. And, like, people act like I shot a baby because I said those things, you know? Just saying that I have a different opinion from a lot of people about a video game, you know? Anyway, I need to cut this clip real quick because my phone breaks at the 30-minute mark, and I try to cut it off before it does that because we lose 30 seconds if you get the point. I've got such a long list of stuff here, and I've only gotten through 2 items. I'll blitz through a couple short ones. Some people have accused my content of slowing down. Those people aren't paying attention. It must be people who are only following the main channel, and if you only like the main channel, fine. That's understandable. It mostly slowed down because I was making an 80-minute video. But I put out 40-plus videos last month, not including songs, not including patron-exclusive content. I definitely haven't slowed down. I want to slow down from that because that's too much. 40 videos in a month is completely unnecessary. Like, it will not... There is no reason to make as much content as I am. Other than that, I just kind of do it out of habit. Like, I make a lot of videos just because, like, I'm sitting around and I think, that might be a good vlog, you know, and then I just do it. Or I just write down a bunch of little ideas. And I've been recording ass loads of secret stuff that's not even going to come out till next year. So, you know, I just habitually make content. And, like, the stuff I actually take seriously, like the main channel content, like, yeah, like, all that really mattered for November was the Makoto Shinkai video. Like, that's the only video I was taking seriously at all. Nothing else is, like, indicative of where my content is going or anything like that. Like, I just wanted to make an 80-minute video for the main channel, and that should have been enough. You know, like, that, for a lot of YouTubers, would be enough. For Matthew Matosis, that would be enough. For a month, he could disappear. For 6 months, he could disappear. A lot of people could disappear after an 80-minute video. But I made 40 other videos because I'm sick and I have a fucking addiction, you know, to recording myself. And I need to cut it back because it makes it so it's harder for me to do multiple big projects. Like, I did get to do one big project last month, but I really would have liked to be able to do more, like to do 2 or 3 big projects concurrently. And I can't do that when I'm putting out fucking small shit all the time and taking up all my time with it. So the content should slow down in the future. I hope it does. Some people have said my content has changed, and my content's always been changing. That's nothing new. I think a lot of people really view my old content with some rose-tinted glasses, because I rewatch my old shit. We do commentaries on it, me and Devu. If you're a patron, you'll see them. my videos have gotten so much better over time, it's not even funny. Like, my old shit, first of all, I was way worse at being concise. Like I was trying to be concise even back then, and I look at those old videos and I'm like, there's so much redundancy in here that could be cut. And I could say that about some of my newer videos too. Sometimes I add in redundancy just because it sounds better in video form. A lot of my old videos just lack so much in clarification, like they're confusing, there's like weird anecdotes that nobody would really get because why would they? I didn't explain what I was talking about. So many of them are like limited by the rules YouTube had imposed on me. Like I had so many times where I had strikes on my channel and could only upload 15-minute videos. There's tons of videos that had like paragraphs cut out from them, or like they look like shit because we didn't know how to edit them to get around the censors back then. The fucking Sword Art Online diatribe is set to, like, badly compressed footage of Terra Online for an hour. I can't believe that video is as successful as it is. And the SAO2 videos, like, first of all, the constant railroad of dialogue, the, like, non-stop talking, tons of, like, nitpicks that even I think were going too far. Like, people seem to think I'm getting nitpickier. Dude, go watch the fucking Your Anime Sucks Sword Art Online 2 videos. I nitpick some shit that I currently can't give a fuck about. I'm like, how did you possibly think that was a problem worth bringing up, you know? Like, I think my old shit is, like, you know, some of it holds up better than other stuff, and there's some stuff that, like that Kill La Kill video that we remastered. Like, I rewatched that, and I really liked it, and I thought this would still survive today, but even that one, like, I could have rewritten parts of it out. It was mostly pretty tight, so it held up okay, but, like, a lot of my old content, man, doesn't need, like, isn't as good as my current shit, and I think the constant evolution is why it's gotten better, you know? Sometimes I make a few videos that like, maybe aren't the most appealing, but like they give me ideas that work into future videos, you know? Like sometimes I might make some vlogs that people are like, I don't get the point of this vlog, but then the next vlog is like built off of that one and is way better, you know? So I just think it's important to constantly evolve and to constantly be trying new things and testing yourself and, like, you know, finding new ways to do things and possibly improving. I think that this Shinkai video is one of the best things I've done in a fucking long time, you know? People wanted 80-minute analysis back. They got 80-minute analysis back. It's not broken into parts this time because we don't have to do that anymore. Thank you, patrons. You know, I never wanted my videos broken up into parts. Like, the only reason they ever have been is that it was the only financially viable way of doing it, you know? Because not only is your view count split amongst multiple videos because people return, so you get 4 views instead of 1, but also I could patron 4 videos instead of 1, and that was the only way to make them financially viable back then. Now it's financially viable to do whatever the fuck I want. So, you know, thank you everybody who's made that possible. I've been saying I wanted to do that for fucking years. And incidentally, this Makoto Shinkai video was announced like 9 months ago. Like, on my Patreon, there was a video that I made back in January about, like, all the projects that I had ideas for that were in the works, and one of them was a rundown of Shinkai's films, talking about how he was overrated, and, like, it took me 11 months, sorry, 11 months to get to do that, from the original concept, and I'm really happy with it. I'm glad it got made. So yeah, I have written down here Shinkai nitpicks. Like, yeah, people saying that I was nitpicky in this video. I'm like, dude, that is what my career is. Like, that is what I'm known for, is, like, nitpicking shows. Like, if you don't like that, I don't know why you would watch my videos. I don't have any idea why you would open a Digibro video if you're like, I really hate when people nitpick movies. Like, dude, that is what the content is and has always been. You know, it was heavily influenced by stuff like Mr. Plinkett and Your Movie Sucks and, you know, just like other people I was following on YouTube who also nitpick shit. You ain't gonna tell me I'm a bigger nitpicker than Your Movie Sucks. Ain't nobody a bigger nitpicker than Your Movie Sucks. But that's why he's funny, because he finds some weird detail that you would never have noticed, and he picks it apart and you go, you know, that would never bother me, but I totally get why it bothered you. And, like, that's what I hope people respond to my videos with. Like, I don't care if you agree with me. I just want you to understand why I felt that way. And if I failed to communicate that, I did a bad job, you know? But I think most people get that I'm just a fucking pedantic asshole, you know? That's the appeal of the channel. That is the stylistic approach. Oh boy. Thinking my word is gospel. This is a weird one. I think this is mostly from people who don't really follow me that much, who think that I am like my word is law. Like, some people seem to think that I believe that, like, my criticism is the only valid one. And I have never even suggested that. I've openly rallied against objectivity and criticism. I have a video called Objectively Good Doesn't Fucking Exist. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I really disagree with the idea that any opinion is of greater value than any other opinion. You know, I am better at justifying my opinions than a lot of people. I am good at explaining myself to a degree. Obviously not to that good of a degree, since so many people have so many misconceptions about me, and it's all my fault for not explaining myself well enough. But, you know, I don't really think that my opinions are, like, better than anybody else's. And sometimes I joke about them being that way because that's fucking hilarious to me. Like, slamming someone and being like, okay, for instance, in The Plebe and the Weeb, in the episode, which one was it? The first episode of the new season where we talked about Excel World, I go on, like, a little tangent where I'm like, oh yeah, if you think ReZero is good, then you're cancer and your opinions are cancer and you should kill yourself, or some shit like that. And I had some people being like, I'm unsubscribing from Digibro because he thinks his opinions are better than other people's. When literally in the ReZero video, I'm talking about how, like, it's okay to like whatever you want to like, and I get why people enjoy this show, and, like, it's not even that offensive, it's fine. And then, like, even in my Sword Art Online video, I talk about how I'm like, you know, if you enjoyed this show, good for you. Like, I'm glad this show made so many people happy. And people act like I fucking made it so Sword Art Online fans are like some kind of pariah or something, that, like, oh, Sword Art Online got, like, hit so hard by Digibro's analysis. Yesterday, I was in a Spencer Gifts in the mall, and they were playing the fucking Sword Art Online opening theme over the radio. That shit is so mainstream and so widely accepted, and nobody could ever hurt Sword Art Online. It's fucking huge. Everyone knows that show. If you know what anime is, you know that show. I have not done anything to that show. I'm just some little YouTuber. You know, like, my reach is not that big. I don't have that much impact. I only have impact on small communities online. Like, sure, maybe I did affect the MAL score, like what Pedantic Romantic said in his video. That is not much. You know, like, the Japanese fans don't care about the MAL score. The American fans don't even care about the MAL score. Whoever was playing the opening theme at Spencer Gifts doesn't care about the fucking MAL score, you know? I don't have that much impact. I don't know why I'm talking about that. I kind of completely forgot. But yeah, I don't really take my opinions very seriously. I don't even really care if people agree with them. I do think it's funny to tell people that their opinion is trash because, I mean, that's the culture of anime fandom, for fuck's sake. It's an unfortunate culture, but it is funny. And then there's my fans defending me. So a lot of people have problems with my fans who seem... I often see it accused that my fans seem to take my word as gospel. That, like, whatever I say is just going to be parroted around. And I know that there are some people like that, as there are in every fan base. Mumkey's video was about this, how, you know, fans, there's always people who are gonna ruin it for everybody else. You know, who are gonna make you look like an asshole for liking something. That is a natural part of any community, because if something gets big enough that it has tons of fans, just by fucking statistics, some of them are gonna be fucking weird and, like, out there and have, like, wrong thoughts about the world. Like, you're gonna get a bunch of fucking weird people if you have a huge audience, you know? That's just what happens. 300,000 people follow me. How many people out of that, you know, are gonna be weird? Probably a lot, you know? I've heard stories like, my little brother knew a guy in his fucking high school, or it was in his high school, and he was, like, telling me that this guy, like, takes my opinions as gospel and, like, parrots them. I don't know if it was him or someone else. I had heard from some friend of mine that they knew somebody who, like, wouldn't watch the shows I talked about in my most boring taste in anime video because of me saying that it was boring taste, even though I say in the video that they're all good shows and that you should watch them. Somehow, some fan of mine construed that as, ugh, you watch fucking Monster, you got boring taste. Like, no, that's not the point I was making, you know? But yeah, sometimes my fans are shit, you know? Like, that can't be helped. Everyone has shit fans. But I do see this getting... I think that a lot of my fans get undue resentment because of this. A lot of the ones who are defending me in, like, comment sections and stuff. Because a lot of them are just defending misunderstandings. Like, there is a lot of misunderstandings in my comments, and oftentimes one of my fans will come to try and clarify it. And sometimes they might come off as an asshole doing so, but, like, the reason they're doing that isn't because they take my word as gospel. It's because they follow me very closely, and they know what I'm trying to say, and it bothers them when someone else, you know, doesn't get it. And I think that's pretty understandable. I think most people are like that. Like, you know, imagine you had seen every episode of Seinfeld, and you know everything about Seinfeld, and you're a huge Seinfeld fan, and then some dude who you're talking to is just like, Seinfeld's fucking retarded. Like, the show's about nothing. That doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. And you'd just be like, no, dude, like, you don't get it. You don't know what the fucking show's about. Like, you'd sit there and you'd probably tell that, like, you'd try to correct their idea of it because, you know, like, I mean, it's one thing if they're like, oh, I watched the show and I don't really care for it. And you'd be like, okay, that's cool. But, like, if they're just saying things that are wrong about it, you're gonna get defensive. And I am a show, you know, like, more so than a person online, I am a show that people watch, that some people care a lot about. Some of my fans watch hundreds of hours of my content in a month, you know? Like, it can't be helped that some of these people are gonna, like, they're gonna care about the ongoing narrative of my content. And, like, yeah, they're gonna be upset when people are just fucking flagrantly getting it wrong, especially when it hurts my reputation and these people want to look out for me. And, like, I really appreciate the fans who do that, you know? Like, I'm sorry you guys get so much shit just because other fans who legitimately do just parrot my opinions and, like, you know, be like, Digibro said the show's bad, so it's bad. Like, those fans are fucking stupid, but you guys shouldn't be lumped in with them, and I'm sorry that that happens to you. Anyways. So I gotta talk about my stance on fame in general. I think, and actually, before I even get into that, let me talk about my my perspective on time and the way I do things, because, and this plays in hugely into the thing where I was saying that I say the wrong thing in the wrong place. I have a very different perspective on, like, the longevity of my career, what it means when I say I'm going to change something or do something, and how seriously you should take what I'm saying. Like, for instance, if I say, I'm done doing short videos, I'm only gonna do long videos from now on, there's a good chance that for the next 2 months I'm still gonna be doing short videos, and that even once I start doing long videos, I will also still be doing short videos. Because most of what I talk about is really more... I hate using the phrase thought experiment, but, like, that's kind of what a lot of my stuff is. Like, I'm not really, like, making statements of promise. I'm making statements of idea. Of, like, I'm telling you why it would make sense for me to stop making short videos and start making long videos, and, like, justifying that idea. But that doesn't mean, A, that it's gonna happen exactly how you imagine it, because it probably won't. I'll probably, like, evolve the way I think about the thing I'm talking about over time before it happens. And B, it doesn't mean it'll happen soon, because I kind of view my career in much broad... Like, to me, the Asterisk War Sucks happened, like, a couple months ago. Like, I know it's been 2 years since that video, but, like, in my mind, that was a couple months ago. Because I don't, like, do that much in my life that, like, it would feel like a huge amount of time has passed. Like, I see that as, like, you know, a little while ago I did this, and next I'm gonna do this, and in the meantime I gotta do this. And, like, I don't know, people see it very differently. A lot of people, because, I mean, some of my fans, like, some of my biggest fans came in after those videos, and it's very easy if you binge watch someone's content to, like, come in, let's say, after the How to Recognize a Terrible Anime in Just One Episode video. If you came in after that video, like that was your first one, and you binged everything I had up to that point, it would look like I had made all these big video series all at once, and that was like the main thing I did. And then going forward, you'd be like, what happened to the big videos? When the reality is that none of them were even close to each other. Like, except for Sword Online and Psycho Pass. It was like, the Sword Online 2 Sucks video series was at the very end of 2014. The Psycho Pass video series was at the very beginning of 2015. And then no big videos up until the end of 2015. Unless you count the Nanoha retrospective, which wasn't even successful. Like, it was a 3-part, 45-minute video series, but it was nobody watched it, you know? So the Asterisk War Sucks comes out at the start of 2016, and it's like, you know, like a lot of fanfare, and then a few months later you had the How to Recognize Terrible Anime video, and like that was like 6 months between them, you know? And then 6 months after that I did the Hideaki Anno video, and like I've consistently made these longer series at like, wait, Hideaki Anno was before the Asterisk War Sucks. What the fuck am I talking about? Point being, I've got lots of long videos, but they did not come out back to back. There was never a time where it was like, this is the only kind of content I do. There's always been peaks and valleys, and I used to disappear for much larger stretches of time. If you were actually watching me at the time of the Hideaki Anno videos, like, that was... I did the Nanoha retrospective over the summer of 2015, and then I did like a Yu Yu Hakusho video and then like blinked off the map for 2 months. And I used to do that all the time. Like, I used to just disappear for like long stretches when I didn't have a good video idea. And now, instead, I just make 100 vlogs. And people are like, Digi hasn't made a main channel video in a month. And I'm like, yeah, I have, first of all, because I know I've never been inconsistent this year, you know, except for when I was on my trip. And even then I put out all these little short videos. Like, I don't know, I'm way less able to, like, bring myself to disappear now than I was before. I don't remember why I'm talking about this. Oh, I was trying to get to my stance on fame. How did I even fucking... No, I was talking about my different perspective on time. Okay, yeah, just... You know, like, for me, when I say I'm gonna make a big video, it doesn't mean, like, tomorrow. You know, I said, like, my Dissecting Shaft video, I was like... I'm going to do a 16-part video series on Shaft, and then, like, all year people are like, where's the Shaft videos? Where's the Shaft videos? It's like, I didn't say I was going to do it immediately. I have the rest of my life ahead of me to do that, you know? It's a very time-consuming project. It would probably be the level of effort that a PhD would take to write, and that takes years. So, like, you know, it's not that linear and simple, the way I think about my content. And the problem is that I announce it. Like, knowing that I think that way, I shouldn't tell people what I'm working on, because they're going to misconceive it because they're not writers and they don't know what it's like, you know, to try to create something like that. But anyway, enough about that shit. God, this is so fucking long. Yeah, my stance on fame. I don't really want to be famous. I've come to realize that, like, I want to make a lot of money, and I want to be able to write to a big audience. I don't want to be famous, personally. And a lot of people mistake, when I talked about, for instance, being a cult of personality, people think I mean he's going to make 100 vlogs all the time. I actually don't want to make vlogs that much anymore. Like, I really don't. Like, I hope that this clarification video will be the last big statement on Digibro's life video for a little while. You know, you'll still get some of that in my Let's Plays and shit, I'm sure. And like I just said, you know, I might say that and then it seems like the total opposite happens because I just think of it differently than a lot of people do. But, like, you know, I kind of don't want to be out there. Like, I feel uncomfortable with the way that my you know, being famous makes people treat you. Like, people don't treat you like a human being when you're famous, you know? And I follow lots of famous people, and I intake a lot of it because I'm kind of like fringe famous. Like, I'm like the minimum amount of fame that someone can have and be considered famous by anyone. You know, like, the absolute minimum is the amount I have, but that's enough for me to get, like, the brunt of the shit part of being famous without really the huge benefits. Like, people act like, oh, Digibro, you should be able to take mountains of criticism because don't you want to be famous? I'm like, dude, I make fucking middle class wage. Like, a dude who works at a fucking car dealership as a salesperson makes as much as I do, and they don't have people constantly shitting on them personally on the internet. Like, I have way too much of the negative benefit of fame for the amount of, like, good that it does me. And it could do me a lot better, but, like, I just don't really want to be that guy. Like, I don't want to be a shill, you know? Like, if I was this like, most people who get as famous as I am, they start shilling because it makes it worth it. It makes it so they make crazy money. I don't care about the money enough to, like, you know, to shill some product I don't care about. And, like, I don't really want to be a guy who, like, has a public face and, like, I can't swear and I can't say, you know, like, racist jokes or some shit. Like, I want to be able to do whatever I want, you know? I want to just be a guy who exists, and I like putting stuff on the internet. I like being able to share my opinions and talk, but, like, the more eyes are on me, the less comfortable it is. The more it's, like, in both senses, like, I get people who love my content and, like, want to get uncomfortably close to me. Like, they want to be my fucking best pal and they want to fucking talk to me all the time. And I'm like, I don't have time for that shit, man. Like, I gotta make content and hang out with my girlfriend, and I don't really make time for anything else, you know? I don't really want more friends. And then the negative side, where I've got people fucking tracking me and shit, and, like, fucking trolling me and getting into my Discord just so they can fucking spam it and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't have time to be a conduit for your boredom, you know? Like, I don't have time to be, like, there for you to interact with, you know? Like, I'm just doing my thing, and I almost think it's unfortunate that I even have a fucking audience for it. Like, I would love to be a ghostwriter. That's currently, like, my long-term idea of, like, my future career in doing this. Like, I'd love to just write stuff for someone else, like, write Trump's biography or something like that. You know, those people who, like, whenever a famous person writes a book, and it's like, yeah, they wrote a book, you know, like, it's really this other guy. I would love to do that because it absolves you from fame and makes it so it's just your work out there, you know? I would love to be under a different name. I would love to publish it on an obscure website that 10 people follow, you know? And this brings me to this idea. Some people have said that I'm abandoning my fans and focusing on my patrons. And that is definitely true to some extent. And it's because I just don't want to have so many fucking fans. Like, I really don't want my content to always be seen by 300,000 people or even 50,000 people, you know? Like, it brings a lot of problems. It's not really fun to have people shitting on you constantly or people having opinions about you constantly or, like, reading responses to your work by people who don't know what you're talking about. Like, my narrative as a YouTuber is understood by only a handful of people, and most of them are patrons, you know? And, like, those are the people who are going to follow the videos I post on an obscure website or that I make patron exclusive. And those are the people who are going to, you know, watch the fucking commentaries that me and May do when we get high and commentate 70s anime movies, and I post it to Patreon. And, like, if I posted that on YouTube, you know what the response to that would be? Like, you posted a video of, like, just an audio track of you and your girlfriend getting high and watching a movie and saying dumb shit about it. If anything about that was less than the most entertaining thing in the world, then people would shit on it violently. But I'm just doing it because it's fun, and I want to do it, and I want someone to see it, because someone will probably enjoy it. So I post it on Patreon, and, like, 2 people watch it, and they go, that was a fun time. You know, like, that's what I want my content to be. I don't want it to be for everybody. I don't want it to be fucking mass market appeal and have to worry about whether or not some fucking Joe Blow enjoys it. You know, like, I don't want, it's not for everybody. It's for me and whoever likes it, you know? And I think in most mediums outside the internet, that's normal. Like, you don't see people, like, freaking out that a manga author isn't doing the manga they want. Like, you know, like, people wouldn't buy the manga unless they thought they were going to enjoy it. Like, but with YouTube videos, people will just watch your shit because it's there, and they feel like they need to have an opinion on it. And, like, you don't. You don't need to have an opinion on Digibro. It's not important, you know? Like, you don't need to talk about me. Anyway, let's move on from that. To talk a little bit more about that Patreon bonus content, here's just a random misconception that happens. I post these podcast previews, usually like 10 minutes of one of the podcasts. I do it once a week. It's just to show people what those podcasts are like. And I'll get people being like, people really pay you $15 a month for this? Like, for 10 minutes of you talking about your life? And I'm like, no. They pay $15 a month for 4 podcasts a month that are 45 minutes at least each. 2 of those are Digi Does Life, which is about how I see the world in my own personal life. And 2 of those are the 2 weeks review, where I review a bunch of shows or things that I've consumed in the last 2 weeks that I didn't think would fit into a video anywhere else. You get all that. You also receive a 2.5-hour commentary every month, of which there are 22 now. So if you become a patron, you get all 22 of them. That's literally over 100 hours of content. You get all the podcasts, of which there are a lot now. You get my archive of videos that were removed from YouTube. You get access to a Discord that is insanely active, and I need to scale back my involvement with it. Like, I am way too involved in my Discord to an extent that is totally unnecessary for something that is new and was not even a main attraction of the Patreon until recently, and I've been way too involved with it. Takes up too much of my fucking time, but, you know, sorry to the Discord guys, but I'm in there too much. But yeah, like, you get a lot, you know, it's not a fucking 10-minute clip that you pay $15 for. Why would I even release that on YouTube? But, you know, whatever. I'm going to put out a preview of one of the commentaries soon. I'm going to put out like an hour-long preview of one of the commentaries soon so people have a better idea of what those are as well. But, like, you know, there's a lot of Patreon bonus content. And then also you get, I forgot to mention, on one tier there's the, if you're a $20 patron, if you're above the $15, you get a monthly live stream that's 2 hours long. You get those Digi and May commentaries where we get high and watch anime movies sometimes. You get a behind-the-scenes vlog once a month where I talk about why I made all the videos I made. Obviously, I don't expect that many people to patron at these tiers, you know, but, like, this content is stuff that, like, I think is more appreciated by people who are big fans than it would be by just, like, the mainstream audience of my channel, which is why it's patron-exclusive content. Social media abandonment. Yeah, so I'm going to restart the clip again. So I totally abandoned Twitter because I don't get anything out of it anymore. It's just not fun to read anymore. I am not reading messages basically anywhere. I don't check my Reddit that much. I will look at it. Like, people are acting like by me moving the comment section to Reddit, it will then mean that the comments don't get read. I read way more of my Reddit than I do my YouTube comments. Like, typically I post a video and I read YouTube comments for like the first hour and then never again. So if you post on Reddit, I'm way more likely to read it. Other people are more likely to read it because it's more of a formatted discussion. If you have a good thought, it will rise to the top naturally, and people will talk about it at length, you know? So I think Reddit's a way better place for discussion, a way better place to get your fucking thoughts seen, you know? I just don't want it to be on the video itself, and I've talked about this in the other videos about closing comments. Wait, I think I've got that written down in here anyways. Don't I? Don't I have something about comments in here? Maybe not. Okay, well, you know, I've said my piece for the most part about closing comments, but I think that people acting like if you don't like it, just don't scroll down, like, that is just such an ignorant thing to say from like a film theory perspective. Like, if you know anything about art, you know that presentation is a huge element of it, that the way that the art is presented and the things surrounding it have a massive effect on how it is perceived. I think that when you click on a video and you see a like-dislike ratio, it immediately creates a thought in your head. Like, you're immediately wondering about why it's like that. When you look down into the comments and you start reading them, it can just, I mean, I got a comment, someone on Patreon had messaged me saying, like, you know, I watched your Dragon Maid video and I really enjoyed it, and then I scrolled down and there was some comment about how, like, Dragon Maid and K-On! Are just, like, moe shit overrated or some shit like that. Like, some dumbass comment, but he was like, it just ticked him off so much that he couldn't get over it, and it, like, ruined his day. And I'm like, I understand that. Like, some people are like that. For some people, it will massively affect their experience, and, like, I don't know, I'd rather protect those people's needs than those of people who leave shitty comments. If you want to leave a shitty comment, do it on the Reddit, you know? Just don't do it on the video. because I want people to fucking be able to just enjoy the video without having to talk about the surrounding context of YouTube, which I've gone into already. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to reach me, don't. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in being reached. I'm not interested in talking to new people. I'm not interested in, like, you know, I don't know, reading opinions about my work. I get it. I've been doing this for so fucking long. I know your opinions about my work, you know? Like, I know it's the same shit I've been reading for 5 years. I don't really care anymore. Like, I just want to post my videos and fucking be on with my day. If you like the videos, cool. If you don't like them, cool. Just, you know, like, it's not for me to know. I don't need to know your thoughts on it. You know, even if you love me, like, I don't have time. I don't have time for people to love me. So yeah, I'm just not interested in being on social media anymore. It's just not a part of my life I want to have. Am I in decline? This is an interesting one because there are objective statistics that are being misunderstood by people. Am I in general, like, losing as a YouTuber? This is a multifaceted answer. The main channel is definitely in decline from a statistical standpoint, and that's fine. After Dark is doing the best it's ever done, but I mean, that's an incremental rise. It's never been like a huge channel. I average over 10K views now, so that's, you know, that channel's pretty fucking healthy, and there's lots of videos that even shoot above that. It doesn't usually hit like its subscriber count or anything like that, but you know, it's doing okay. It's doing fine. It makes me a little bit of extra revenue. The main channel, like, in terms of how much money I make from it, hasn't really changed that much because, for one thing, everyone was hit so hard by the adpocalypse that it barely even fucking matters if you make ad revenue anymore. And then also on top of that, like, I still get lots of views from my older videos, you know, so even if the new ones aren't hugely successful, I still average I average like 1 million views in a month, you know, across all my videos. I've got a lot of fucking content out there, so I still make like $1,000 in a month off of YouTube, which is what I've always made. And the Patreon's way more successful than ever, and like some people will look at it and they try to like study it too closely and they don't really understand how Patreon works. Like, for instance, some people were saying that I had like a $500 dip at the end of the month. Well, first of all, every single month on the 1st, your Patreon takes a huge hit because that's when it processes payments and a lot of people's cards get declined. And it takes a few days for it to retry those cards and see if it can succeed. Usually most people's cards succeed eventually, only a few don't. And when it counts those declines, then it lowers your Patreon number. So you're always going to see a decline at the start of a month. Second of all, sometimes there's factors beyond what you can see. For instance, last month a guy patroned me $300. I knew he was going to cancel it before too very long, because that would be insane to pay $300 a month. And by the end of the month, he lowered it to $1. So, like, yeah, you saw a $300 fluctuation there. That was one guy. You know, I haven't had any. Watch the patron number instead of the amount of money that I make, because that's more important. There's definitely people who reduce pledges all the time, almost always because they're out of money. Like, I get lots of messages from people like, hey, I can't really afford to support you anymore. I'm lowering my pledge to $1, or I'm unpledging. I'm sorry. And I'm like, cool beans, dude, whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's your money, your life, you know? I've always got the next guy. My Patreon's always been in flux. That's just how Patreon works. It's normal. I am not worried about it. I make a stupid amount of money that is like, you know, like more than I need or can spend. So like, I like having it. I like having a savings. I think that'll support me a lot in the future, especially if this YouTube career just crashes and burns. It'll be nice to have had all that money. I haven't been spending it frivolously. I've been putting it away, you know, but like, you know, I'm not hugely concerned about the numbers changing on the Patreon. They're fine. So I'm not in decline in that sense, but the main channel is definitely not going to be successful anymore. Like, the way that YouTube works now is so fucked that, like, trying to chase algorithmic success basically requires you to be a fucking monster. Like, you have to put out multiple videos a week to really work the algorithm. Like, I was quoted from somebody who had heard from, like, somebody at YouTube, 2 or 3 videos a week, every week, is what you need for the algorithm to actually take you seriously, you know? And apparently there's been a huge hit to the entire film category on YouTube because trailers get more promotion than like content about films do. Just everything about the way YouTube's moving is like, it's just stifling this field. Like, not even that it's hitting all content creators, because like, you know, whenever this comes up, someone like Casey Neistat is always brought up as like, he's doing fine. And it's like, yeah, YouTube favors his content. Like, it doesn't favor everybody else's. It doesn't favor my content. And like, the amount I would have to change to fit the algorithm is just more than I'm willing to do. I would have to have constant videos. I'd have to search engine optimize, you know, talk about shit people care about. I'd have to really try like to be a YouTuber guy, and I'm not interested in being that. I just want to be a guy who makes cool analytical videos, you know? So like, I just basically decided, fuck it. Fuck the main channel statistics. I'm just going to make gigantic videos, and if they're good enough, people will spread them by word of mouth. You know, like, if my content fucking blows, then people will unsubscribe. And if my content is good, then people will patron, you know? And, like, that's fine. I am not interested in, like, meteoric growth. I'm not interested in being a million sub club guy, because it's not going to happen without changing my content so much that it wouldn't even resemble itself anymore. So, like, yeah, the main channel's view counts are going to continue falling. That's part of the plan. I'm not concerned about it. You know, I just hope that some of these videos might by random chance blow up, you know? And even when they do, it's always a fucking pain. Like, the How to Recognize Terrible Anime video went, like, double viral. It's got 2 million views, but it's part 3 of a 3-part series, and half the complaints people have about it are addressed in fucking part 1. Like, and also people take it way too fucking seriously. And, God, we gotta get to that shit. Taking my opinions seriously, and hypocrisy. So one of the big complaints about me... This page just like came out of this book. One of the biggest complaints about me is that I'm a huge hypocrite, that I say things that contradict themselves, that I don't know, people don't like my opinions on certain shit. Yeah, I am a hypocrite. I don't take the things I say very seriously. Like, I don't really, like, none of this is that important to me. None of it's like an identity issue. None of it's like, oh my god, it's so important that people recognize that you can tell a terrible anime in one episode. It's really more about, like, understanding my perspective. It's more like I made that video so that people get why I drop shows after one episode. And when people are like, oh, I really hate the way Digi does things, like, you know, if he didn't drop shows in one episode, he'd be, like, a better critic. I'm like, okay, if you don't like it, then don't watch me. That's just the way I do things. I'm just explaining to you why I do things the way I do. But, like, I'm not saying it's a better way to do things than how you do it. You do you, man. Like, watch my videos if you think that I'm doing things in an interesting way. You don't even have to agree with it if you just think it's interesting. But, like, you know, yeah, I'm a hypocrite about a ton of shit. Like, I don't fucking... That's what happens when you talk constantly on the internet. You're gonna contradict yourself, you know? Especially over the course of fucking years that I put out my content, where, like, I don't even relate to myself from years ago. I have old videos where I say shit that I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? And everything I've ever made is still online. My blog goes back to 2007, you know? Like... You can read posts on there where I'm talking about how Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex is an ugly, boring piece of shit. I have never disagreed with anything I've said more than that, you know? But, like, yeah, hypocrisy is kind of natural. It's kind of a part of the human condition, and I don't really, like, try to hide it. I don't try to cover it up. Like, I don't take myself that seriously. I'm not a fucking politician. Like, I'm not out here trying to change the world. I'm just making videos about anime, you know? Who cares if I'm a fucking hypocrite? Who the fuck does that affect? Okay, we're getting close to the bottom here. And on top of that, I consider a genre of what I do to be cringecore. I've called myself this many times. A lot of people seem to think that this ties into the taking myself seriously thing. May I remind you that I am filming this video in front of a wall of anime posters, and I'm wearing sunglasses indoors. This is self-aware. This is intentional. This is the joke of the channel. Like, the point of putting myself in that situation of, like, making myself look retarded is so that people will look at me and go, that guy is retarded. Huh, he said some interesting stuff, you know, but, like, you're not supposed to, like, take it seriously. You're not supposed to get, like, I don't know. it's fine if you want to, I guess, but like that's not really my intentions. I don't really intend for anybody to look at me and think that like I think I'm a badass. I'm wearing fucking sunglasses in the house, you know, at night. Of course I'm not a fucking bad. I'm a fucking idiot. God damn it. I'm wearing pajama pants at all times. I'm drunk on most of the videos. Not really. I'm drunk on a few of the videos. You know, like everybody takes it more seriously than I do, I feel like sometimes, but again, it's just a matter of, like, people not being around that long. Like, if you've only been watching me for, like, a couple videos, I'd probably come off as, like, some fucking douchebag. But, like, there's a reason I open my videos with, like, stuff like, holy shit, or, like, what the fuck? Because I just want you to know it's a goofy, fun time. But I think that ties into as well, and this is probably part of the problem, is I get accused of trying to sound smart and using lots of big words and strange phrases. I mean, that is... I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how to change that. I just talk the way I talk. Like, my writing is all stream of consciousness. I do not sit there with a thesaurus. I don't sit there and try to, like, phrase it perfectly so it sounds super smart. A lot of the times the reason that the phrasing is confusing in my videos is because I am literally dumb and I don't know how to phrase it well. And, like, it sounds like I'm trying to confuse you or something, but it's like I just am not a good enough writer to like write everything in a way that it's perfectly clear. And I do use a lot of big words because I like big words. I think they sound cool. I love the word obfuscate. It's a cool fucking word, you know, like, yeah, I fucking, if I sound smart, it's because I just use language that's flowery because I like that kind of language. It's just how I talk. I've always talked this way. Like, it's just who I am. Like, people sometimes say that my videos come off to them as, like, patronizing, and I don't get that at all. Like, I don't understand how you can watch one of my videos and think, like, I'm talking down to you. Like, just because I used a few big words, like, I don't know, man. Learn big words. Like, sometimes I feel, like, I don't, this is gonna be patronizing what I'm about to say, but, like, sometimes I feel like people... like, feel like it's an attack on their intelligence if somebody, like, says something they don't understand. You know, like, if I use a big word and you don't know that big word, you feel like I'm making fun of you. But, like, it's not my intentions. Like, I just use big words because I like them and I know them, you know? And they're usually a word that makes the point that I'm trying to make very clearly and quickly and concisely. And, you know, if anything, if there's something I should do, it would be to spend more time to deconstruct my big words and use smaller ones, which I have done over the years. I've definitely dumbed down my language a little bit just because I don't think it's necessary to use so many big words all the time. But sometimes I can't help myself. Okay. I have written up here abandoning fans. I feel like I covered that already. Just like the idea that I was focusing more on the patrons, and like it's kind of natural to do that because they're fucking paying me. Of course I'm going to focus on them. Like, of course they get... yeah, the patrons get shit that's exclusive to them because they pay money. Like, just like how if you fucking go to a restaurant and you buy the bread, you're not going to be like, or you get free bread, you're not going to be like, oh, they should bring me a steak dinner. Like, because, you know, like, how dare those guys get a steak dinner just because they paid for it? You know, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course the people who pay money get more shit. I also want to talk, here's another thing that sometimes gets brought up, people who seem to think I have no career prospects and that when YouTube blows up in my face, I'm just going to be shit out of luck. I expect YouTube to die. Like, I think YouTube is dying. I think YouTube is on its way out, at least for content creators. Like, the website might survive, and it might be a great archival place, but, like, people aren't going to be able to survive on ad revenue for that much longer, and even personality YouTubers like me who have a Patreon... you know, as some people have said, like, this is a criticism I get that I agree with, like, as my audience grows up, they're gonna unpatron, you know? And, like, as I grow older, I'm gonna appeal less and less to a younger crowd, you know, who might look up to someone like me and wanna pay money for my content. Like, I don't expect to be doing this forever. I don't expect to be doing this past 30, you know? Like, there's tons of other ways to use the skills I have. I could write for magazines and just do like basically the same thing I do now. I could ghostwrite for people. I could be an editor. Like, I'm actually a really good editor, like, of other people's scripts. I mean, not an editor of videos. I'm a good editor of scripts. I hate editing videos. But, like, I would love to be a text editor, just like work on other people's projects, you know? I could just be a fucking, I don't know, I could be a social media, well, I don't want to be a social media guy, but I could be like a talk show host or some shit. Like, there's a lot of different things that the skill set I have has prepared me for. And even if I can't do any of those things, I'll get a fucking data entry job. Like, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about the future. Like, You know, even if everything went wrong, like, dude, you survive. It's what it means to be human. You find a way, you know? I've fucking been poor before. Like, I know what it's like. I'm not afraid of it. So, you know, there's that. My future as a YouTuber, I really see... This is how I see the next couple of years going. I think that next year, what I'm trying to set up... I've been doing a lot of work on next year. What I'm trying to set up is a system by which I've got my like everyday content, my stuff that's like out all the time, the like constant flood of content will be like massively pre-packaged, and it won't be nearly as high effort as it is now. Like, it won't be hour-long podcasts every other fucking day, you know, because that takes up too much time to do. And it'll just be like short, like 10-minute videos that you'll get like every day or so, and like they're just about random shit, and they're just audio. You know, like, there'll be stuff like that just for the people who want to have, like, that constant stream of Digi content, and I like having stuff coming out all the time. But, like, in the meantime, I'm going to be working on big shit. I'm going to be working on big, huge projects, and I'm also going to be working on diversifying and getting off YouTube, you know? Because I think this website is tanking, and I think that I don't really have a future as just a famous YouTuber. Not even to say that I can't become more famous. Like, there's a chance I could become, like, a guy who lots of people know, but, like, not necessarily just doing anime fucking analysis videos. Like, there is a ceiling on this shit, you know? The most famous anime YouTuber is the Anime Man, and he's, you know, he's only over 1 million subs. He's not like one of the biggest YouTubers, and he's fucking insanely good looking. So, like, I've got no chance of competing with that guy, you know? Like, if I become famous, it'll be for something else, I'm sure, other than anime YouTube. But, like, you know, anyway. Continuing shows. A lot of my shows that have been continuous, I'm kind of putting to a stop or putting on hiatus. I've come to realize I don't really like doing continuing shows that much, unless they are very easy to knock out, you know, because it just takes too much time away from other shit, once again. Like, doing hour-long podcasts all the time is very like, that's an hour I could be working on something else, you know, an hour I could put towards a bigger project, really 2 hours I could be working on this, because I'm gonna have to edit it as well, you know, like, it's just... And then reading responses to it, and, like, everything about it. Like, everything about producing a product, like, I could put that time to better use and try to focus my efforts on more bigger projects, you know. So, like, Manga Mondays is still going to go on because it's easy, you know. Animag Weekly, I'm going to try to make a bi-weekly series. That one I want to keep running just because the response to it was very warm, and I really like the product. And, you know, it doesn't really require much creativity on my part. It's just kind of reading out of a magazine. So, like, those things are easy enough to keep going. But, like, you know, most of my continuing series are, like, either on hiatus or are going to be changing in some way. Or, you know, like, I'm just thinking about them differently. But I definitely intend that the main channel is going to be a big video every month. Like, that's the current plan. A big video every month. So you got an 80-minute Shinkai video for November. Came out a couple days late, but, you know, whatever. There'll be a big video in December. Hopefully a big video in January. Hopefully a big video in February. And it's going to go like that all the way until at least May. Now, let's talk about PCPHQ. Because during May of next year, me and May, my girlfriend, are going to be moving out of this place. I live in New York. Neither of us really wants to live here for long. We're basically just here so she can finish school and, you know, get everything prepared before she fucking leaves her family and everything. But, like, we're not going to be here for very long. And our plan is to move to Atlanta. And I know a lot of people in Atlanta. You know, Econ's in Atlanta, Nino's in Atlanta, Super Bunny Hop's in Atlanta. I don't really know him, but I'd love to. You know, a lot of YouTubers are down there. My friend Ben Saint lives down there, and he's the first member of the PCP to be down there. Me and Nate will probably both move at the same time. Tom will probably move at the same time. So a lot of us are going to be in one place. And when we've got all of us together, it's possible all of our content is just going to radically change. Because the idea of PCPHQ is not just to make, like, the PCP a better show. It's that we can all work together and have each other as assistants on stuff. I mean, it's possible that me and Nate could launch a show that's so successful that we both just stop doing our main channels. Like, if we have a show that people like even more than what we're doing now, like, what we're doing now is not likely to continue, you know? I might make a big video every 3 months if my Patreon's not even what's carrying my career anymore. Like, and this is all just up in the air. There's a chance none of this will happen, and it'll just be the same shit, and the PCPHQ will be a huge failure. But, like, you know, the way I'm looking at my career is, like, when we move, everything could change, you know? And I don't plan on doing the same thing forever. Like, I'd rather massively evolve, and, like, I'd rather try to find some, like, brand new avenue, and I have tons of ideas, you know, that I haven't even tapped into. I was gonna address the meme of, like, having my girlfriend in a bunch of videos. It still comes up every now and again. People, like, discuss whether or not they think she's good in the videos, whether or not I do a good enough job of, like, helping her in the videos, stuff like that. The bottom line is, any video that she's in wouldn't have existed without her being in it. Like, the videos I do with her are stuff that, like, I just wouldn't have done otherwise. Like, I wouldn't have revived Finish or Fail if I couldn't have watched half the shows with her. Because I don't want to watch anime by myself all day. It's boring, you know? I'd rather watch it with somebody else, and, you know, a lot of what gets talked about in those videos is only because we discussed it while we were watching the show, and then we bring it up again in the video. Even if I do all the talking, like, a lot of it is stuff that, you know, we came up with together. And it's just easier for me to rattle that stuff off quickly, you know? A lot of, like the Pokemon journey wouldn't exist without her being there. You know, the Digi and May Do wouldn't exist without her being there. So, like, I don't think I'm not, like, pushing her into any content she wouldn't have been in otherwise. It's like, if she wasn't there, you just would have less content, you know? Like, that would just be the nature of it. So, you know, if you don't like watching the ones she's in, don't watch them. If you don't like hearing me talk about smoking weed, you might want to unsubscribe, because I do it all the time now. And that's it. That's everything I could possibly clarify about myself, my intentions, who I am, what I'm doing, where I'm planning to go in the future. So hopefully, like, if you watch this all, and I realize that this is a huge ask for anybody who actually has any of these criticisms, but, like, this is it. This is the statement. You know, if you see somebody bringing up one of these points and you want to clarify something, time code this video and send it to them. Like, that's a great way to fucking get people up to speed. But this is the big thing. Like, if everything I've just told you has led you to think, I don't want to follow that guy, don't follow that guy. You know, if everything I've just said makes you think, oh my god, that guy is cool, I want to follow that guy, follow that guy. But don't message me anywhere, because I ain't gonna fucking read it, you know? Alright, that's everything. Peace.